Hello guys, in this video I want to show you two different cages that I had the chance to use with the Panasonic GH5. So both of these cages that I have here are from KMTV and they're similar in some ways, different in others, but they're both great cages. So if you're just wondering overall, are these like a good accessory for your Panasonic GH5? And you don't have time to watch the whole video, then I can tell you right away, yes, they're good accessories. Now here I'll kind of explain to you why they're good and also what are the differences between the two. So the one I have up here mounted right now, it's a cage that was, I guess it was released after this initial cage that KMTV released. And the reason why they released this is because some people wanted to have the ability to have a cage, have a handle, but also be able to mount the audio accessory that you can get from Panasonic, which allows you to connect XLR microphones on top. So with that accessory, if you put it in there, this handle will still work, the cage will still work, and overall it's a solid cage. It has a lot of, for example, pre-tapped holes all the way on the tap handle here, on the sides of the handles, and these are different size holes, like 1/4, 3/8 of an inch. And they're going to allow you to basically attach all sorts of accessories to your cage, which means that now you can take this already amazing camera and you can turn it into like a proper production beast by attaching, let's say, monitors or things like that directly to the cage. And that's kind of why you would want probably a cage like this. Also the cage, which I like about this cage in particular, is that this one has here on the bottom has sort of like a bumper that goes flush against the bottom of the camera's body. And what that means is that if, for example, when I was shooting with like really heavy, for example, anamorphic lenses, then without that cage, basically the camera, doesn't matter how tight I would have it attached to my base plate of my tripod, the camera under the weight of the lens would just move like this. And even would cause the camera to tilt up and down. Whereas with the cage, because it's now securely holding it in there, it basically all that weight of the lens didn't actually cause the camera to shake. So that's basically, like I said, adds more stability. One thing that's very important is to still be able to quickly access all of the buttons on the camera, and this cage lets you do that. So here, for example, if you need to turn this wheel up here for the different photo modes, or for example the on-off button, you can do that. All the top wheel for all the different camera modes. Same thing here if you need to access the buttons for the ISO, the bracketing, the white balance, all that stuff. Function button number 1, you can see you can easily access it, including the record button here on the top. Here on the back, everything's exposed, so the cage doesn't create any problems there. Now, what it also gives you here is it gives you full access to the battery plate on the bottom, so you can open the battery plate and close it. Now if you attach this, because you could attach this cage directly to your camera's tripod base plate, then it's going to work no problem. But if you want to use actually the base plate that KMTV provides, that you get basically when you buy this, which is this little base plate, you could say, or this kind of a, I guess sort of a base for this cage, then with this cage on, that's when I found that you actually will have problems basically taking out or putting in the batteries. This thing basically kind of allows you to, for you to quickly slide the cage in there. You lock it here in the back, and because now this base has 15mm rod attachments, that means you can attach 15mm rods and you can really build up this camera to, like I said, like a proper cinema kind of a rig. Like I said, the only thing is now with the battery, you can see the door still opens, no problem. But if I want to take out the battery, here, then you'll notice it kind of just barely kind of gets there stuck a little bit. So that's why, and it's not a big problem. You basically, all you have to do is you kind of loosen the camera cage a little bit and you slide it out just a little bit so that you can take the battery out. Put it in and then just kind of move the camera back into place. So you can still do it. It's not a big hassle, but I wish if KMTV was to do an update to this cage, I just wish that they somehow maybe cleared this bottom basically attachment somehow so that you can easily access the battery. But that's the only thing. But otherwise, the cage is solid. Comes with this base. Same thing for this cage. This cage is also going to have, like I said, that same base it's going to use. It's basically interchangeable. So if I take this off, you'll see here I can slide this one on there too, and just lock it in the back. And so you can have all the same accessories, and like I said, you could buy just a cage and it comes with the base, or you can actually buy the whole rig that KMTV sells, which I have up here. So the rig itself is going to come, like I said, the cage, the base, comes with the two rods, with the swing away matte backs, which is really cool, 2-stage filters here that are rotatable, has the follow focus here. And then, because you have, you know, two 50mm rods, you can attach other accessories. Like here, I attached a V-mount battery plate, so I can power my camera and my monitor, for example. And I can quickly here slide this camera in here and attach it. And, you know, this is sort of more or less how I was working when I had my GH5 kind of configured to be like a cinema rig with anamorphic lenses. I had the matte backs, I would put my filters in there. Up here on this arm, which now this arm is actually attached to the 50mm rods, so it's very secure. I had Atomos Ninja Inferno, so I was able to record anamorphic 4:3 aspect ratio in 4K at 60 frames per second in 10-bit, which is something that you can't actually do internally in the camera. So it was really cool. Plus, on top of that, I had a nice 7-inch display that's full 1080p. It was great for pulling focus and things like that. And also because I was shooting anamorphic, it was kind of necessary because it de-squeezed the image for me real time. So again, I could actually see what my framing was like. So anyway, so as you can see with this KMTV rig, you can quickly convert this, like I said, already amazing camera into an even better kind of a full-blown production, like a film production rig. But for example, let's say you're in the middle of shooting and you have all these big, you know, all these great accessories, but suddenly either you get tired, like I actually did a few times, or you just want to, let's say, quickly downscale your rig, throw the camera up on like a, you know, little 3-axis gimbal, and get some shots that way. Then that's the great thing about this rig, is all you have to do is kind of loosen this screw here on the base of it, slide the camera out, and you can see the whole rig kind of detaches, and there you have just the camera with the cage. Now let me actually show you right now how the camera kind of looks and fits on the other cage and what are the differences. It provides you all the same access here to all the buttons here, all of this stuff. You know, the battery compartment is the same thing, opens up fully. So all of those things are the same like the other cage. The difference is basically in this handle. This cage, like I said, it was released later, and it was kind of, you know, created, basically designed with a different handle so that it could accommodate the audio module here on the top. This one will not accommodate that. So, and for me, this is kind of what I'm going to go with. And the reason is because, like I said, I don't care about the audio, but I prefer the handle a lot better, because the handle is basically allows you to be actually adjusted. You can kind of adjust the center of balance of the handle, and once you like it here, you can quickly tighten this one knob, and you know, you can have it there. Plus, you can very fast remove this handle. So when I pack this in my camera bag, it just now makes it a lot easier to pack it in there without having this big handle sticking out. Or when, for example, I'm flying this on some gimbals, I actually prefer not to have the handle because it kind of gets in the way. So that's the nice thing with the handle. The handle is also rotatable, so you can put it in any configuration. Plus, another cool thing with the handle is that it has a 50mm rod here that you can put in the handle itself. And what that is great for is basically attaching other accessories. Like, for example, you know, I had the Atomos Ninja Inferno attached, but for example, let's say I want to still attach something, but I don't want to attach it to the rails. Then I can attach it here and actually attach it a lot more securely than using any of the screws. Like, for example, the EVF that I have here. So I can just slide this into the handle here. Now, because I'm not using a magic arm that kind of works based on friction, but actual two 50mm rods here, it just simply means that whatever I attach here, whether it's the EVF monitor or other accessory, it's going to be on there very secure. But it's also going to allow me full configuration, like basically I can here tilt it up and down, you know, move it in and out. Also the same thing up here, right? I can adjust this So I can have all of these controls here, and like I said, but then once I lock it with just these two knobs here, and this way it's just really kind of attached in there so well that it's not going to move, which is not something that, or so far at least, I have encountered with magic arms. Like those friction-based, magic arms, they all, under a certain amount of stress, they'll just kind of go loose on you. That's why I actually like using the 50mm rods, when attaching any kind of heavier accessories to my cameras. So that's the cool thing about this handle. Like I said, it allows you to do that. Plus, because the handle actually detaches really fast, that means I can take this whole thing off, put it aside, and I have a small camera rig. And another thing actually that I prefer about this cage versus the other one is that it has an extra cold shoe mount up here on the cage itself. It allows you to attach, like let's say if I had, I have one cold shoe mount up here on the handle. So if I had the handle attached, I could have, let's see, my light up here, and then here I could have my shotgun, let's say directional microphone attached, or things like that. So it's always good to have extra attachment points to attach your accessories. And that's kind of why I would say that's one of the main reasons why you might want to get a cage for your Panasonic GH5. Anyways, if you guys are interested, like I said, for all the details on which models these are, how much they are, where you can get them, all that stuff, it's as always, you'll find that information on my website. And if you guys like this video, don't forget to subscribe, click that like button, and share it with other filmmakers whom you think might be might find this information useful. Anyways, my name is Tom Antos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.